Hi, Mark here from the Tangibound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangibound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangibound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangiboundNetwork.com and see if Tangibound Network is right for you.
Sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time. Stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to The Crazy Life, everyone. My name's Jen. I will be your hostess for the evening. And with me, as always, is Brian. Hey, Brian.
Howdy.
And unfortunately, Henna was not able to be with us tonight. It is my fault because I had a bad headache yesterday and had to move the recording date. And he already had previous engagements that he could not miss. So I take full responsibility for poor Hano not being able to join us. So it'll just be Brian and I today for you folks, but I think you'll have a good time anyways. So Brian, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good.
Good.
You know, other than, I talked last time about how I was going through like that shakiness, and I was pretty sure it's from a medicine.
Yeah.
What I found out, like, I'm still having it. And, I've been back on my blood pressure medicine. But what I think it is, I was at therapy today and I was talking with her about it. And, I actually figured out that it might not actually be the Wellbutrin. It might be my, the metformin that I'm on. Because when I was looking it up today, it shows that one of the potential side effects of metformin can be hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. And when you have that, you have excessive sweating, cold, clammy skin, shaking sometimes, and it's like I fit that. Like that makes sense. And from what I was reading online, it could be that there's quite a few times that I'm not eating before I take it, or as I'm not eating dinner or something. So, I'm going to, start doing that, like really making sure I'm eating when I take it. And then, if it doesn't get any better from that point, then I have to go see my doctor again in like the middle of the month because of the increase in the metformin. So that's what I'm wondering is when I was on 1 a day, it was fine. When I went to 2 a day, that's when I started having some of the other stuff. So, it kind of fits the timeline and whatnot. And obviously, if it's causing me issues to where it could be a crash, that's not good, so.
Right,
we would have to sort that out. So, yeah. But, it still could be the Wellbutrin. May be that. I don't know for sure. And obviously, I'm not going to self-diagnose. I looked up that medicine today because I was like, you know what? reminded me, well, actually the reason is a couple days ago, my mom had a sugar crash. She's got diabetes, and she was making herself a bowl of cereal, and all of a sudden she just felt like she was going to just drop to the floor. And she went over and, sat in the chair, and once, we got a little bit of food in her, she started to rebound from it. And it may be kind of the same ideal, that, and, she was on more medicine than just metformin, but I remember, like, I was looking up her medicines to just look for side effects to see if any of them could cause that. And I forgot, I wasn't thinking about that metformin can cause hypoglycemia. So, and she went to her doctor, and her doctor was like, oh, it sounds like something's causing hypoglycemia. So it's like everything's kind of lining, lining up a little bit.
Right.
So then when I had similar symptoms, like I didn't feel like I was going to fall over at any point or anything, but I just get really jittery, and like I sweat like crazy anyway, and I'm sweating more, which is horrible. Cause you already know, like people listening may not, but you know how bad I sweat.
Right.
Like, and I hate it because I can just be standing in a cool room and sweat, and the way it's been lately is if I don't have a fan directly on me, I'm sweating, which has sucked for sleeping and various other things. So
absolutely,
I certainly want to get that taken care of because it's like, look, I sweat enough. I don't, I don't need help.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I got a really good piece of news at therapy today, which is apparently here in October, the insurance company that I have is no longer limiting mental health visits.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because otherwise I'd be getting to a point where I got to start slowing down, because still got a few months left in the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. I mean, luckily it would be okay. I really feel like I'm kind of in a place right now to where I could push my therapy sessions further apart and still be fine, a year ago I wouldn't have been able to, well, a year ago I would have, but not a year and a half ago I wouldn't have been able to. That's when I was going weekly. So yeah, I was so happy to hear that. Well, not just for me, but for anybody who's, through that company. I don't really want to name it because I don't, it's like, but, I mean, I could, I guess, but, yeah, that's just great. My psychologist was really excited about it too, because, I'm sure she's got a decent amount of patients that's going to help, so that was really cool. Trying to think what else this week. I've noticed that I'm doing little stuff a little bit more. Like I cleaned this room that I'm in last night. I cleaned the bathroom the other night. Like I noticed I'm starting to do more of that kind of thing, and which is a huge, huge step, because that's the kind of stuff that I just didn't have the energy for. Like even if it was simple, I'm just like, I just can't be bothered,
Yeah.
So that's good too. And, I feel like there was something else I was going to say. Oh, I wrote another blog. That's what it was.
Awesome.
And this one was, and I feel like this is a really big step too. And I've kind of been talking about it the last few weeks, but I wrote down, it was about, I think I titled it Enacting Change. And, it was basically talking about like what I want to change in my life, and kind of laid out future goals, which I haven't done in a long time. Like I haven't bothered to look down the road, because a lot of times with depression and stuff, you really can't. You almost have to just look at this week or today or, right now.
Right.
But, I wrote some stuff down on there, and whether or not I hit it, it's, whatever. 'Cause, like driving is on there. It'll probably be a long time before I'm comfortable driving or even get to that step. But it's like, to start that, I need to go get temps. Then you need to take the written test or whatever. It's like there are little steps before I even get into a vehicle that have to be done, as well as make me move that way, So, I put, like I said, I've got stuff like that on there, and I was talking, like I have like moving out and, maybe going back to schools, just kind of just where my head is as I'm looking down the road going, okay, well, I got to figure something out here and whatever. So, my therapist seemed to agree that was a really big step too. So that was
wonderful. Yeah. That's awesome.
Now, the question is, will I take action on it? We'll see.
Right, but you're already taking some actions by putting plans in place.
Yeah. So, yeah, but we'll see how that turns out. Obviously, I'll keep everyone updated. But, if you want to read my blog,
absolutely.
The link's in the show notes, or I think it's like stunami.wordpress.com or wordpress.tsunami.com. I can't remember. It's in the show notes. So
that's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's having two in back to back like that.
Yeah.
That's been a while since you've been able to do that.
I know.
That's
it really
pretty awesome.
It really has. Like I was telling her about my birthday, because the last time I saw her was like the Thursday before, just a couple days before, and I was telling her, I said, it was amazing this year that I really didn't get gifts, but the amount of like love and attention that I got from people was so overwhelming. And I was like, this is really probably one of the better birthdays I've had in a while, and I would gladly take feeling appreciated and friends doing that kind of thing for me versus presents or going out or whatever. I'd take that anytime, cause it just means more overall. And especially right now where I'm trying to rebuild my confidence, it really helps, as I mentioned already on here. But when you put that with, okay, I've done a couple things I wasn't doing. Now I have seeing that accomplished builds on that and then builds on, it's like, it's a slow roll, but it's, right now it's gaining momentum. So hopefully it keeps going that way.
I hope so too. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I feel like there was something else I was going to mention, but I can't remember it. So whatever.
All right. Well, if you think of it, you can shout out at any time.
Right.
But my week's been pretty good. It's been getting prepared for my folks coming to town. My brother and my mom, my stepdad are all coming into town. My brother will be staying with us. So it's just been getting the house guest ready. So you always keep your place a certain level for you, and then there's always that guest level.
Yeah.
So
well, for some people, for others, it's just like whatever. They can appreciate it or they can leave.
Right. Or some people are always at the guest level, regardless of guest or not. Yeah, that's
very true. There are some people.
So I guess everybody has their own way, but
yeah.
So. Yes, even the dog had to get guest ready and got his nails trimmed today.
Makes sense.
So everybody's got to be looking good.
Do they give him like a bow or anything when he's done?
No, he doesn't get a bow. But he does have a very snazzy camouflage collar.
Yeah.
And he got a new leash. So he's looking very dapper now.
Yeah. I'm sure he loves that.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Right.
So, the bathroom is now finished.
Good.
Woohoo!
Good.
After, 6 months?
Whatever, it takes what it takes.
Right. So we finally got the bathroom finished, and we're still married, which is a good thing.
That's true. Home reno is definitely a way of testing the bonds of a marriage. Yeah.
So, we made it through with not too many. I think we had a couple little spats, but nothing major, which is always good.
Yeah.
Work is settling down, which is awesome. Yep. And just found out one of my coworkers that had left is coming back. And so she's very strong at what she does, and I really like her a lot.
Okay. I was just going to ask if this is good or bad. Because, it could be good for getting work done, but bad personally, or, exactly. That's kind of what I was going to...
She's strong on both ends. So
awesome. Good.
On both fronts, I should say.
Yeah, that's good then.
Yes, so I'm very excited. And I have a vacation coming up, and she will be coming back to cover for me while I'm on vacation. So that
that's convenient.
So it's almost like someone set it up that way.
Yeah, right.
But so so they have coverage, which makes me feel much better and much more relaxed about going away.
Yeah, because even though realistically you've got this and you need that vacation, and the attitude really should be not my problem, but
right,
most of us would probably worry. It's like a friend of ours actually, where he works. He's actually started the vacation today. And he was talking about how they're getting slammed and people have been quitting and all this. And I'm like, well, what are they going to do? And he was like, not my problem. And I was like, you know what? You're right.
On vacation.
Yeah, well, it's like, you're right.
Yeah.
You've had this scheduled. You've been busting your hump for months now. So it's like, I get it,
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it is. I mean, the girl that's our acting manager right now, she was saying something, and I kind of laughed. I looked at her, I'm like, not my circus, I'm just one of your monkeys.
Yep.
And she just laughed. She's like, right? I said, you get to be our ringleader. I just show up and do my act, and then I go home.
It's so funny because, for years and years, I've wrestled with being a control freak. And, the fact that times, like even then, it's like a great example would be this, like on the podcast, I generally am doing the recording. I throw it through a couple filters, blah, blah. I post it, not that it's great, I'm patting myself on the back or anything here, but there's been a few times where like me and Tony have been on another podcast or I have been or whatever. And it's like, man, this is kind of nice. All I got to do is just sit back. I just got to talk.
Yeah.
It's like, this is really nice. Let someone else deal with the technical issues and yeah.
That's one thing that I have learned through this whole thing that I've been going through at work is that it's okay to let go.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be as constantly striving for more and constantly fighting for more and doing more and proving myself and all this other stuff that I used to feel was so important for me to do.
Yep.
I've kind of come to terms with being happy with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
it
is, like you said.
It's been a long time coming.
So freeing. Like, I remember going back to when I first was talking with Henno about, control issues, and when him and I were first talking about those, and, I'm like, man, it's so hard to just let go of stuff. And he's like, it's real hard. And he's like, but trust me, stay with it, basically. And I did, and I started letting go of things I couldn't control and stuff. And I was like, man, my shoulders feel so much lighter because I'm not pulling weight that isn't mine onto my shoulders then, I'm only worrying about what I can control, and like, honestly, I want to put this out there because Henno's not on here, but I want to say this, on here, which is from the point when we started, or even before this podcast, when he was on Angela's Awesome podcast, I would listen, and a lot of times Angela would kind of, she was kind of like, let's just throw everything out there, and some of it was, stuff that I don't really buy into and whatever, and it seemed really, hippie-ish or whatever, that kind of thing. And, it's funny because today at therapy when I was talking about how I feel like I'm kind of moving forward, and I was like, I've really been trying to live progress, not perfection. And it just kind of made me laugh because I went from the guy who absolutely didn't buy into this crap to now I'm spouting it off as part of my vernacular, my vocabulary. It's like, like I just gotta,
You have drank the Kool-Aid, as they say.
But that one is really a true one. The two that really stand out to me that I've ever heard are that one and the let go or be dragged. Those two because they're both so true. If you focus on just progress, so much easier to live life than perfection, because you'll never achieve perfection. So, and then the other one obviously is like we were just talking with the control, is letting go. And let someone else have that worry, because that's what they're getting paid to do, or that's supposed to be their job,
Exactly. And, it's interesting when you come to that conclusion, when you realize that, it is not your responsibility, and you can take a step back, and you don't have to say everything, you don't have to do everything, and it's not on you to make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
When you take all that away and you sit back and just relax, it makes things a lot smoother.
Yeah, it really does.
Mm-hmm.
And really,
So
it allows you to be more. It should allow you to be more efficient as well, because you're focusing that part of your brain that you were worrying about all that other stuff. Now you're focusing it on the task at hand, instead of splitting your attention, basically. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so I've been feeling much better about that. And that's been about my week. Is I've just been really kind of getting myself ready for having people over, because it is, I love my family, and I wouldn't trade my time with my family for anything. I think anyone who knows me kind of knows that family is a huge part of me and what I do and who I want to be. So, but it does come with a good share of anxieties, and it takes a lot of efforts and stuff. As much as I love it, it does take defined effort.
Yes.
So, but that's good. I'm at that place that I can recognize that, and I can appreciate that and know what's coming, and I make adjustments for it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have some downtime, probably on Saturday, and, I'll probably take a nap, probably have some quiet time just by myself. Get prepared because I'm going to my aunt and uncle's house on Saturday night. So be lots of family and lots of family fun.
Right.
So, and just keep them back in my head, my breathing techniques and all the stuff that we talk about on here.
Yeah.
And just keep practicing it.
And like you said, it's when something's coming up that's going to get, whether it's your anxiety or, whatever it happens to be, if it's going to kind of trigger that, or it's going to, even if it's just the fact that you're going to have an emotional hangover potentially, it's like if you can plan for that ahead of time, like you trying to get some me time in before, that way maybe you're going in recharged, so maybe then you won't have the big emotional fatigue afterwards, or maybe you don't have any, who knows. And if you do, then you can plan kind of that, because it's to be expected a little bit, And that's a really big thing, because, if you think about where we both were a few years ago, neither one of us really did that. We were more like after the fact, we would deal with stuff,
True.
Like you would have done that, and then Sunday you'd be like, I'm done for the day. Like I'm doing nothing, and shut.
Yeah.
And basically just sit on the couch and watch TV because that's what you need. And, now you see it coming. You try to prevent it a little bit so that it's not as bad, and I'm doing the same thing, like when I know there's going to be something that makes me anxious, I'm trying to find a way to either distract myself or to stop myself and then, shift my thinking, and, that, like I said, those are big steps from where we were not too long ago.
Absolutely. They really are, and being prepared is a big thing.
It really is, because we're going
it's all in the preparation.
Yeah, we're going into the fight, I'm using air quotes, with mental illness with a full quiver, rather than before we would just going in with like our hands, I'll be alright.
Little slap fight, no problem.
Like, oh, you have an axe. This isn't going to turn out well.
Right?
Yep.
Well, you talked about, some distraction and stuff, which kind of brings us to our topic today, which is gaming apps actually created to help with mental illness and mental health. So there's two different types, I should say. There's ones that were created with that in mind, and then there's ones that people found that weren't necessarily created for mental health, but have been a huge help in the mental health arena. So, the first of which I wanted to mention is a tried and true, one of my favorites of all times, Tetris.
Oh man, that's a great one.
Isn't that great? I love Tetris, and the best part about Tetris is that it has now been shown to lessen PTSD and flashbacks. So it's just because of the addictive puzzle game, it started embracing our universal desire to create order out of chaos. So that creating the order out of chaos has some sort of triggering effect on, kicking people's minds off of the stuff that's going on, and it lessens some of the stressors and the anxieties that people feel.
Right.
So, along with Tetris, special mention goes out to Candy Crush, Bejeweled, aka whatever one you want to use, because there's quite a few out there.
Yeah.
The matching games that take the three you make three things in a line and they disappear, blah, blah, blah.
It's interesting, though, because Tetris is going to engage you more. Because it isn't just looking for three matching kind of a thing. It's, having to, visualize things, turn them, there's more to it. But you're right. Anything like that. And my therapist actually mentioned that to me was, she's like, sometimes if your anxiety gets going or whatever, she's like, pull up, Candy Crush or whatever you play on your phone and, and use that as a distraction, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, being a big fan and proponent for Candy Crush, Candy Crush, Candy Soda, there's another one as well. There's 3 of them that I play quite religiously.
Right.
I
play, Marvel, whatever, it's Marvel Heroes or something like that, and I play, there's a WWE one that I play, that's another, 3 match game.
Yeah, type match games.
Yeah.
The best part about those match games is that there's 2 ways of playing. There's the play that you can just randomly just swipe your finger and make matches and be happy. Mm-hmm. The other way is to strategically match so that they fall in a certain way so that it creates other matches and you have the domino effect.
Right. Which is how I play.
Yes. And both play can be beneficial. Mm-hmm. The first way, just swiping and stuff, it's kind of it takes your mind off of things, but it's more of a lighthearted, easy way of looking at things.
Yeah.
The other one is for when you're really stressed out and you really need to take your mind off and really focus in.
Yeah.
That's the one you want to see how many chains you can put together of matches and whatnot.
Right, because you need a bigger distraction, so you want to kind of engage more, Again, that's where Tetris is great because, with each level you pass in Tetris, the game gets harder and harder, Yes, I would recommend, though, playing with the sound lower or off even. Oh, I hated the music.
That sound, the music can get really anxiety driven.
Oh, yeah, it can.
It's almost like that Mario at the end of when you run out of time in Mario, when it starts getting faster.
Yes.
And yeah, it's the same thing. Your heart starts beating faster. It's like, ee!
Right. Yeah, that's true. Cause I used to play it when I had, my first Game Boy actually, which was, the original Game Boy. I used to play Tetris like crazy. To the point that I got Mario Land or whatever the heck the first Mario game for it was. Beat that in a couple hours and then immediately went back to Tetris. Cause I think Tetris came with it, if I'm not mistaken.
I've always loved Tetris. I will say, I'll give a nod to Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
Cause Dr. Mario was very strong.
Yeah, it
wasn't Tetris, but it was a very strong game.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I've played a lot of that too, so.
yes, I did. I played tons of that too, yeah. Yep. So there's, an article that I wanted to talk about from Uncubed, is the website, is uncubed.com. They actually tracked down 18 of the best apps to help you keep sane through everything from deep breathing to talk therapy. So, we talked a little bit about the fun games that aren't necessarily created for mental health, but have been beneficial for, to people who have mental health issues.
Right.
These were actually created for specifically mental health issues.
Yeah.
So, and mental health wellness. I should say more than issues.
Yeah.
The first one's called Pause. It's Pause, and this is an Android and iOS app. It asks you to follow an on-screen blob with your fingers. Apparently, it's based on the principles of Tai Chi and is proven to produce a calmer state of mind and a lower mental workload.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see where that would make sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just kind of, the blob, I guess, just bounces around and you just follow it with your finger.
Right. And it seems like it would be pretty low stress unless, just following it around, unless it like speeds up and bounces or,
right.
something like that. But if it's just moving around, it really is so weird how really just zoning out is really what you're looking for, essentially, to some extent here,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So the next one is Insight Timer. The description is, so you're going to try to meditate for 20 minutes a day, but how do you manage to relax when you've got one eye on the clock the entire time? Insight Timer is the top free meditation app on the iOS and Android stores, offering free guided meditations as well as a simple clock that won't jar you from your hard-fought equanimity. So that's interesting. So if you're into meditation, that sounds like it would be beneficial.
Yeah.
Now, Headspace.
Well, hold on real quick
Yeah.
before you move on to that. There was something I just popped into my head, which was, the concept of that, of like, it's tough to, when you're going to meditate, like you're like, okay, I have this much time, so I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes, but what you're not realizing, like I listened to Tim Ferriss's podcast, and he was talking about this one day, and it might have been about that app, actually, because he was talking about how it's frustrating when you want to meditate for 20 minutes, but when you sit down, your brain takes a while to kind of get to the right spot,
Yeah.
before you're kind of in that state to where you can start really working on it. And he's like, the next thing you realize is that you've already been sitting for 10 minutes, and you haven't really even started.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm
That
sure that
makes
could be a
sense.
help.
Well, the next one's called Headspace. Since launching in 2010, Headspace has become a tech leader in managing and monetizing meditation. Their meditation app offers 10 free introductory sessions. After that, the subscription starts at $6.25 per month.
Yeah.
So another meditation app.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. Happify. If you can get past the site's copy about science-based happiness, Happify provides games that will train your brain and build skills for lasting happiness. The platform offers a series of games and exercises for iOS, Android, and desktop that also helps quantify your daily emotional state. I don't know about quantifying my emotional state, but sounds like it'd be kind of fun to check out.
Yeah.
Now, Super Better. This one's a huge app it's all over the place.
I used this one for a while.
What do you think of it?
It's interesting, but it's not for me.
Okay.
Because their concept is like, a lot of people, like, they have those trophies you can get from, like, Xbox Live, or different apps will give you, like, a certain, online trophy kind of a thing for checking stuff in or whatever. And, I was kind of, so it was like, if you like the game, this really kind of fits that. And it does, because the woman who created it actually, she was a gamer, and she got, I can't remember what happened, but she had some sort of, brain issue. I can't remember if it was a concussion or if it was something else, but she had a real issue for a while to where she couldn't really do much. And she basically made it through mentally by picturing herself as a superhero as she overcame, challenges.
I see.
So, yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's awesome. That's, because I've never heard of it before, but when I was searching for this information, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
It was on TED Talks. I mean, it was all over the place.
There is a great TED Talk about this app, but I could not tell you what it is. You might be able to just search TED Talk and what'd you call this? I forgot.
Super Better.
Super Better, yeah. You might be able to just Google search that and come up with it.
Yeah. So the next one, breathe to relax. How
Yep.
about that breathing?
Yep.
So breathe to relax and tactical breather. Sometimes all it takes is deep breath, and there are a variety of apps that promise to improve your mood through breathing technique.
Wow, I found the TED Talk. I was totally right, by the way. I typed in, TED Talk super better, and it was the first link.
Yeah. I mean, it popped up quite a few times when I was looking at different mental health games and the apps.
Right. I'll have the link to the TED Talk in the show notes.
Awesome. So these breathe to relax and tactical breather were developed by the U.S. Department of Defense for the warfighter during intense combat situations. If you can forget about their martial origins, the site promises anyone can benefit from the ideas taught in these applications.
Okay.
Then there's Breathing Zone. So the Breathing Zone not only guides the user through a 5-minute controlled breathing exercise, but also uses the phone's microphone to analyze the user's breath. It's recommended by the Harvard Medical School.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of, a lot of these are, have similar, fundamentals, but, it definitely, they're worth looking into,
Yeah.
Like this one's enjoyable. If you need to reach out to a real human being, but you don't have the time to wait on a doctor's appointment, you've got some options. Joyable uses a slightly controversial technique of cognitive behavioral therapy and personal coaching to help lessen social anxiety and depression. The San Francisco company focuses largely on corporate clients, though individual programs are available.
Okay. It's interesting.
Doesn't really say what they do. But
It's funny, though, because it mentions that cognitive behavioral therapy is controversial. It kind of is, but it's getting used a lot,
Yeah.
That seems to be the new, psychological kind of school of thought on is cognitive behavioral therapy, because it allows you to stay grounded and be in the moment, kind of a thing. So, but yeah, whatever. I wouldn't shy away from it because that said it's controversial. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to make you do anything terrible or illegal or whatever.
Exactly. And Frankie agrees, as you hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the next... Can I talk? So, the next one is TalkSpace. TalkSpace is the biggest player in virtual therapy. TalkSpace will pair you with an online therapist immediately. The service comes the closest to establishing a traditional patient-therapist relationship, though it's not cheap. Plans start at $32 per week.
Oof, a week?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yeah, I agree, Frankie. That's a little high. No. I mean, listen,
stuff.
if it works and you can afford it, whatever. But wow.
Exactly.
Most of the apps are fairly low, maybe $10 a month or something. So, all right.
Well, it sounds like this has a, it's an actual person that you're talking with.
Oh, right. Yeah, that would make a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just a game or an app.
Yeah.
Well, it is an app, but you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
There's someone on the other end.
Yeah.
So there's, the next one is Able2. The Able2 platform offers personalized one-on-one sessions, although their focus is more on coaching individuals to help manage stress and set personal goals.
Right. I've heard of that one. I haven't used it, but I've definitely heard about it.
Mm-hmm. Lesso also uses cognitive behavioral therapy to help address anxiety and depression. However, their sessions are conducted via real-time typed conversations.
Okay.
Currently, the service is only available in Colorado and the UK.
All right. That's weird.
Right? All right, then.
Yeah.
Oh, the next one. Here you go. Sleepio. Sleep always helps, and your phone can actually help you. Sleepio uses CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, to manage your sleep patterns. Several trials have shown the app to help long-term insomnia.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Mood 24/7. Sometimes it's not so clear what inspires you. Mental black clouds. That's where mood tracking comes in. Mood 24/7 was developed by Johns Hopkins University to track your moods based on once-a-day text prompts.
Didn't I use that? I used an
sounds familiar.
Yeah, if I didn't use that one, I used an app that did very similar to where every so often it sends you a text that says, "How are you feeling right now?" And sometimes they would ask you like another question or two, and then across like a month or a week or whatever, you could see basically, what time of day you felt like, better than others or whatever.
Oh, this makes me think of there's an app that it's a weather app, but it's kind of sarcastic.
Oh yeah, I think it's WTF or WTF forecast or WT forecast, something like that. Is that the one?
Yes, I think that's the one.
Okay.
It's one that's oh well. Anyways, yeah. I'm going way off topic.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. So look it up, folks.
Yeah, there's a clean version in it, or you can turn on the naughty version.
Yes,
and it uses various cuss words and such.
And it's actual weather. It's true, true temperature and true weather, what's going on in your neighborhood. But it's more along the lines of what you would say about the weather versus what the newscasters would say about the weather.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, the next one is How Are You? The How Are You app for iOS and Android is meant to supplement talk therapy using occasional tests to track your mood. Okay. So iMood Journal. If you're more of a diarist, the iOS Watch OS and Android app iMood Journal provides a convenient way to track mood changes, which can help identify triggers.
Yep.
And finally, a friend asks, here's the thing. If you or someone you know is suffering from severe mental issues, there's not an app in the world that will replace a real psychiatric care. If you're worried that a friend is in danger of harming him or herself, a friend asks offers tools, resources, information to help.
Right.
So, always remember, folks, a friend asks what's going on. And, this one can help you help them.
And, while we're speaking about that concept and apps, also keep in mind that Instagram, Facebook, and I think Twitter has it too, but I know Instagram and Facebook, because they're owned by the same company, they have a thing to where you can go, like you were reporting a picture, and, but when it asks for reasons, one of them is like they're using dangerous language, or I think they may harm themselves, and they will send an alert to like the local police, to check on the person. So that's always there too. It's totally anonymous, so that nobody would know who sent it or whatever.
Yeah. And then the next, or the absolute last one, is the crisis text line. So sometimes the best thing you can do to help yourself is to help someone else. So you can help a stranger by volunteering for Crisis Text Line. It's a text message-based suicide prevention hotline. And don't forget the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is available 24/7. And I'm going to give you guys the number again. It's 1-800-273-8255. A good number to know.
Yeah. Or you can text, I think it's text help to 741-741. And you can do a text conversation with somebody. That may be the other one you were just talking about.
Yeah, the crisis text line. Let me bring it up and I can tell you for sure here.
Yeah. Because that's a really good option too, because you can do that, like I said, and kind of just do it via text if you don't feel like talking on the phone or whatever.
Right.
Or like if you were crying to where it'd be really hard for someone to, to understand you on the phone. The crisis one, I think, is not just for, suicide though. I think it's like, a crisis line.
And you're going to type home to 741-741.
Home, that's what it was. I always get it confused.
Yep.
Yep.
So they do say, they're experiencing very high volumes. So,
Sure.
use it as needed, of course.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Because if they're experiencing high volume, you may not be able to get in or get through right away. There's also, as we've talked before, there are lots of forums online. Reddit has a bunch of stuff for, suicide or about depression or anxiety. There's communities there. There's other websites that have this kind of thing. So, you can search out a lot of different ways, to find help.
Yes, exactly. So,
there's one more thing that I've used a whole bunch to help me with my anxiety, and that was Sudoku. And I had an app on my iPad that I have played I don't know how many games of it, because when I'm focusing on the numbers and figuring out the logic puzzle of it, I can't really think about anything else, and so it works really good. A lot of games will. There's a lot of games that'll distract you really well, or just provide something, just get your head off of anxiety or however you're feeling if you need to, or depression.
Professor Layton.
Yeah. Well, I had that on the DS. I had the what was that? Brain Age 2, I think it was, that had basically a Dr. Mario game, but I actually thought it was better than Dr. Mario because it allowed you to when you would connect certain things or whatever, the extra pieces would fall in different spots, and you could move them with the stylus, around, and put, but every level higher that you got, those would move faster and faster. So you had to be careful because once you get to a higher level, if you break one and two pieces come off of it, they're going to drop really fast, and they can mess you up. So, but I played that game a bunch too, and it was another really good one for distracting me late at night and stuff. And there are a lot of logic games that'll do that too. There's tons of those kind of things.
Absolutely. And some people find a lot of relaxation in like the Sims games.
Yeah.
And the simulations.
Yeah.
Not just Sims Family and that type of a thing, but there's actually simulation games like building empires, building cities, building pet shops, all of that stuff. So look them out there and see what kind of makes you happy. Which one helps to distract you, but yet doesn't make you anxious.
Right.
'Cause that's the key. Some games get too into them, and pretty soon you find yourself being obsessed or anxious about it, and you don't want that.
Right. And the other thing too is a lot of times with these kind of things, they kind of don't, from what I read once before, they kind of don't recommend that you spend a lot of time in the game, so maybe pick ones where you can play a board or two and then, or like in that wrestling game I could do one match or a couple matches and then be done. Like it's basically, you're supposed to be looking for just enough to distract your brain, to interrupt that cycle, and then go back to doing whatever you're doing. It's different if you're, just sitting around and nothing, whatever, but if you're at like the doctor's office is a great example where a lot of people get anxiety. You may not have enough time to play a real game of Tetris, but you can play as much as you want to play, and or until you're called back. So that's kind of the whole deal with it. Is and I think we talked about that once before. I'm pretty sure we did about using like at the doctor's office or something, using an app to distract you. I think it was the one where we talked about things you could do on your phone when you're anxious, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this is a good list. There's a lot of these on here. You said Headspace, right? That was one of them you said?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I was going to say, if not, Headspace is one that I've heard of quite a bit. But there's more, like, I totally didn't even think about it because I actually had a list given to me by my therapist for, with some apps. I totally forgot about it. I just remembered it. But, whatever. There are a lot of them out there. You can type in on Google and look for all sorts of, just type in depression app or whatever. If you're looking for those ones that are more like guiding your meditation or your breathing or calming. Actually, that's another one. I think there's one called Calm that's recommended by therapists, that it works pretty well to help you kind of just calm down, like before sleeping or something like that. So, yeah. Like I said, there's tons of them.
Yeah. And it's really it's a great way to, again, use this as another tool in your toolbox.
Right, exactly.
Yep. It goes right next to the hammer and the screwdriver. You just keep adding to that toolbox of all these things that can help you, when you're having issues. If you're having trouble, having an anxiety attack, you try one doesn't work, you try another one.
Exactly. Yep.
Start with the simplest for you to do at the time and move forward from there.
Right. Yep.
So, one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I think we're pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, folks, if you want to continue the conversation, if you want to join us like Clint, our buddy, did a couple episodes ago, please reach out to us and let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you just have some thoughts on another topic that we want to talk about. So you can reach me on Twitter at Jen's Crazy Life. That's Jen with a G. You can also reach us at our website at crazylifepodcast.weebly.com. You can also reach us via email at thecrazylifepodcast@outlook.com. And Heno, you can reach him at Ida Heno on Twitter, and on Facebook, it's Heno Heiter. And you, Brian, how can they reach you?
You can also find the show on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod. You can find me at Stunami. My other podcast can be found at salty_language or at saltylanguage.com. It is a not safe for work podcast, so, don't listen to it with the children's in the car. My blog can be found, the blog I mentioned before, and I couldn't remember the address. It's stunami.wordpress.com. You can find the show's Facebook, at facebook.com/group/Crazy Life Podcast. So, go join. We've got a bunch of resources over there on I think it's files page, that, can help with like you were saying, the suicide prevention hotline numbers on there, the 741's on there, that kind of stuff. As well as like NAMI.org, which is a great place if you're looking for a therapist. They can help you find one if money is a concern or whatever. And you can look for I think you can look on there for specialization, so, definitely take a look at that stuff if you need it to. And, what am I forgetting here? Oh, we're part of Tangibound Network, which can be found at tangiboundnetwork.com. So go check out that network. There's plenty of good podcasts over there. Maybe you'll find some others that you like. Then I guess this is the part where I remind everybody that we're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals of any kind, just two people sharing our experiences and opinions. If you feel you need help, please seek it out. Again, don't wait 20 years like I did, Go now! No, but, go when you're ready, but go, don't self-diagnose, please, and also, don't see this show as a replacement for therapy of any kind. We're just kind of throwing some stuff out there, but a lot of this stuff is stuff that I've learned about in therapy or is used in therapy. So, there's something, but again, go talk to a therapist so they can get kind of a game plan for you. Because what works for me may not work for you, which may not work for someone else, blah, blah. Also, if you're feeling as though you may hurt yourself or others, reach out to one of those numbers that Jen mentioned already, or, call a friend so you're not alone. That's a very important part of it, is to not be alone. Get somebody there that can help you, keep you from doing something bad. As well as, if you need to, go to the hospital, tell them you're having a mental health crisis. or that kind of thing. But again, please don't be alone. Please don't act on it, aside from, calling someone for a support. And again, if you even find yourself planning how you would do it, or writing notes, like a suicide note, that kind of thing is where the red flag should really pop up. If you catch yourself doing that, go get help. Don't wait. And then lastly, reach out to somebody this week. Tell them you love them. Tell them you appreciate them. If you're wishing them happy birthday, don't just say happy birthday. Tell them something else that you really dig about them, or why you're happy they're in your life. Or I guess just that you're happy they're in your life, or whatever. Cause that kind of stuff, I mean, it's made a huge difference for me. I know it makes a difference for others. And, you might just make someone's day, or you might save their life, and you never know. And, what's it cost you? A minute? So yeah, do that.
All right, folks, it's that time. Keep breathing, try to smile, and have a good week.